Welcome back to the Krafty Max Originals Back to Basics BeadALong. Okay, this one is going to be about opening and closing jump rings and how to attach clasps. Sounds so simple, but it really is much more complicated than a lot of people give it credit for. Now, let me tell you first about how jump rings are made, and I don't care if they're oval, if they're square, or whatever they are, they're all made the same way, okay? And I'm going to use this just as a demonstration. So what they do is they take wire. Now, of course, this is hardened steel, not just plain wire. And they wrap it around and around and around, okay? And then once they get the all the way up, and it kind of looks like a spring when it's done, okay, is they come back and they cut, usually with a saw blade, sometimes with cutters, but usually with a saw blade, an opening. And what that does is that makes a jump ring. Now, again, it doesn't matter, round, square, heart-shaped, it's all done the same way. Okay. Once you have a jump ring, and they have been hardened, and they have been cut like this, it is extremely important that you open and close them the correct way. And the reason is because every time you open and close them, you already are hurting the integrity of the wire. But if you open them the wrong way, you're hurting it to the point where the next good pull could break it. Okay? So again, it doesn't really matter whether you have an oval or a round, and I'll tell you in a minute why I personally use ovals. The end result is the same. What you have to do is never open a jump ring like this. You always twist. And by twisting, you are not hurting the spring. If you open it, this area right here becomes not only so weak, but it also gets to the point where it literally could fall apart on the next time you open or close, or if you have a good tug, like on a necklace or a pair of earrings. So, again, I'm using the jump ring. I'll show you in a minute how to do it with a pair of pliers. Okay. You take and hold on to one end, and if you can look carefully, that's where my split is right there. Okay. And you twist to the side, trying to keep it as close to even as you can without bringing it apart. Okay. And when you close it, you do the same thing. Usually go just a tiny bit further and then let go, and it'll close almost perfectly each time. Now, I would not recommend you doing this, but by doing it this way, you can actually open and close it more often. And once you get used to using a pair of pliers or a jump ring and opening them this way, you'll almost always open them the same direction and close them the same direction, because you don't want to go opposite directions each time. That will also hurt it. But the big thing is to never open them this way. Always open them to the side. Now, once you have one open, and I'll show you how to do it with a pair of pliers real quick. You do the same thing. You open it and close it. Open it and close it. Okay? So, once you have one open, you want to put on the clasp and your bracelet or necklace, whatever you're working on, and then close it. And again, you can use your pliers or you can use the jump ring. Okay? Now, I will tell you now why I almost always use ovals. When you use a round jump ring, the cut part, the opening, moves around. Given it's round, it's going to move. But what happens is often, because of the way that the metal or the wire, whatever it is, it'll settle right there at that opening. That's bad, because any kind of just a little bit of tug and that opening gets a little bit of a gap and suddenly stuff's falling off. With the ovals, they almost always fall to side, which means the opening is in the middle here, and it's much easier. Even if it pulls apart a little bit and there's a gap, the chances of this coming up and coming off is a lot less. Now, in the last one, I showed you how to use the wire guardian, but I never really told you why to use them. And I will tell you that now. if you do a crimp and wire, okay, when your jewelry is writing on its clasp or anything else that it's writing on, that is rubbing on that wire. Every movement is slowly wearing on that wire. With the wire guardian in the mix, now it's running and it's rubbing on the guardian. The wire is inside that tunnel right there. Okay? It's nowhere near. It's not touching any of these moving parts. Also, the wire guardian, if you look really close, is kind of curved on either side. And so it gives it a good, nice, smooth movement when their jump ring is moving on there. Okay. Now, I believe in jump rings. If you watched the earring video already, I will tell you I believe in jump rings. I put a jump ring between every clasp. I put a jump ring between every earring. I put a jump ring multiple times before I hang a dangle in the back of a necklace. I put jump rings everywhere. And the reason is once again, it just adds movement. If I was to actually go straight through, and you can do this, and go up through the crimp bead, up through the tunnel, or the tunnel and around, and come back down, then you could put the clasp right on there and then go back through the crimp bead. So the clasp is directly on there. That is acceptable as well. But it would kind of be stiff. It wouldn't move very much. Whereas if you do it with a jump ring, not only does it move, but let's just say your clasp breaks. Now you got to restrand the whole thing. Let's just say you need to add a few links because you didn't make it the right length. Now you got to restrand the whole thing. But if there's a jump ring in the mix, you can add more jump rings. You can replace it with a smaller jump ring if you have to. Okay. So once again, I love jump rings. You'll see jump rings in a lot of things, and it's useful, but it also makes it much more adjustable. Okay. So now you see how to add the jump rings, and jump rings, always remember, open them by twisting them, never by opening them this way. Okay? I will see you on the next video. I think we're going to be getting into some bead weaving. I'll see you then.